Welcome back to Moving Unboxed, presented by 495 Movers. I'm Justin.
I'm Andrea.
And today we're going to be talking about important questions to be asking movers when vetting them for doing your move.
I have a 5-bedroom home with a substantial amount of belongings between my 4 kids and myself. Anyways, I've never used a moving company before, and I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed trying to narrow down my choices. For those of you that have used movers, what kinds of questions are you glad you asked, and what questions do you wish you would have asked?
First, you're looking at open or fixed dates with a moving company. At 495, we are an open schedule type of company, right? So yes, we can sell out days, and those days could be more expensive if we need to add a job on. But at the same time, we're not saying, hey, it costs more for you to move during the week than the weekend. All that pricing is equitable. That's another factor that you would want to try and discover is, am I going to be charged more if I move on a Sunday versus a Tuesday? You don't want to just go into that blind and just say, hey, here's my date. I know exactly what that is. And then not knowing what happens if that date changes. That's definitely an important factor when you're looking at like the calendar aspect of vetting a mover. Beyond dates, you definitely want to ask about the labor force, the movers. Are they experienced? How did you actually employ them? Are they day laborers? Are they full-time? Are they part-time? You want to ask about how they train their movers. Like at our company, we have an upward mobility program. We have guys start off just helping in the warehouse, then learning on the trucks, then actually becoming a mover. So it's making sure that you're doing your due diligence and you're just going into that vetting process of, hey, how skilled are the movers that are actually coming to my home? It's going to be a very important factor.
She had a couple more things that she had also, this particular user online. I think we should go and say this is from a thread on Reddit, so just continuing that same thread. But she also wants to know if you've had a great experience. Was there something specific about the company that made it great? But if you didn't have a good experience, what would you have done differently?
Sure. So good experiences, like good factors or notes from good moves. Cost control on materials. That's huge. I think that's a big place to start because that's where you see a lot of difference in the cost. Like when you see the original cost to the final cost, a lot of it typically has to do with a change in volume, pounds or cubic feet, or most significantly the packing, because with some companies it can just get out of control. Okay, so with 495 movers, we include everything. We keep it really simple. We work counterintuitively to the rest of the industry, but the rest of the industry is kind of feeding off of each other. Like they benefit from each other, other movers, I'm saying, because they all work very similarly, where they leave the doors open for additional charges. So with packing materials, people are still charging $5 to $7 per roll of tape. They're charging for shrink wrap. They're charging for moving blankets. Boxes are pretty normal to charge for. Again, we don't, but like small, medium, large boxes. Let's just say you wanted more padding on a sofa. Like, hey, this wood panel on this sofa is very fragile. I want it padded more. Okay, well, they're just going to charge you 3 medium boxes so that they can just use those to fold over the sides. There's lots of little tricks that movers will do like that to just go ahead and charge you more. You just paid for 3 extra boxes. That could range anywhere from $45 to $65 just for putting some extra padding on a sofa that needed that padding regardless, right? Like that should be the job of the mover. So little red flags like that, like essentially selling you material just to protect items, even though you're not packing the actual box itself. So definitely getting a cost control on packing materials. We want to look for proactive quality control. At our company, we do exactly that. So you get after you book a job, you get a call from customer service. Before the job, you get a call from customer service. On those pre-calls or post-booking call, we're just going over the paperwork. We're making sure that you understand what you've just purchased so that if there is any questions or concerns going forward, you understand them appropriately. And then we do the pre-move check-in call where we're trying to get any updates on inventory. Are there any key details that we missed about the house? Like we said, we're going to come in, we're going to, protect the floors, protect the walls. Are there any particular areas that we need to look out for that specifically? I will have people that tell me, hey, you don't need to protect the walls. I'm going to rent this place so I can take care of whatever, or things like that. So I do have people that say, hey, you are allowed to work in kind of a hurry. Hey, that table over there, it's a little end table. You don't need to pack it. You can just throw it on the truck as is. We're just going down the street. So they will try to collect any of those little insights or details ahead of the actual moving team arriving, right? So we're being proactive, we're informing them on things, we're getting insights from them, but then that on the day call is probably the most important, because now what we're doing is we're making sure what we sold that customer is what we promised them, right? Like they are getting what we promised, and that's very important.
So we have another mover from Reddit. This is from Phoenix Matrix. He's asking questions to ask when comparing movers. He says, I'm prepping for a long distance move. I got quotes from the typical big companies recommended on this and other subs. They all came to almost exactly the same. The reviews of the individual franchises are about the same too. Availability and timing are also the same for all of them. I asked a couple of questions about the processes, how they would handle some of the more complicated pieces of furniture, how they pack insurance, and a few more. I'm wondering what other questions folks suggest I ask to try to tie break and pick one. At this point, I'm just about to flip a coin.
Okay, so if someone knows their numbers, I think that's important. So what percentage of your moves have a claim rate? Like we do, like I think just over 2,500 moves in a year, and we have a 7% claim rate. If someone doesn't know that number, I'm not saying that like every single salesperson should or customer service person should. I do, because I'm in people's homes every day, and it's really important, and just giving the people the peace of mind, right? Like that we track that. It's important to us. So asking something like that, how consistent or how reliable are your quotes? And that question, I think a lot of people will kind of just start with like if it depends on the confidence of the answer, right? If they say, oh yeah, like our quotes are always consistent, like right off the get or right off the jump, or they're able to tell you, hey, like 10% of my quotes are over this month or something like that. Like if you can, that answer sounds like that's something that they're tracking. I think that's valuable. And just simply asking a mover, why do you stand out over the competition? Why should I pick you? And I think the answers that you're looking for are people that are passionate about moving. The people that have family-owned businesses. My family works here. My kids work here. It's my dad's company. I've been working here since I was a kid or whatever. I worked here in my summers. Stuff like that. Things that you can do, or questions that you can ask to like get more personality, out of the company. I think that gives you a better lending to the reputation of just how they carry themselves. Obviously, like reviews, like everybody can have a good reputation on Google. So going beyond that, Better Business Bureau, if like you have 3 quotes, like you said, they're like all the same, but only one of these companies is signed up with a Better Business Bureau, like that's a huge bump up.
That's everything that we had today.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything else, then we can go ahead and wrap up.
No, that sounds good to me.
All right.
Can't wait till next time.
Can't wait till next time. We'll be back here every single month with more moving tips and a little peek behind the curtain into the moving industry. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and don't forget to listen to this podcast every single month on Spotify. Thank you.